Did the pageant industry finally get exposed? There is a video on Instagram that has rattled the pageant contestants. This video has over 500,000 views and today we are going to decode it. Hi everybody, I am Lekh Uthaiah and I have been in the pageant industry for a long time. I took professional training in 2021. I won Femina Miss India Punjab in 2022. I have made dozens of videos to help aspirants and then have my own brand where I coach aspirants towards their dreams. So I think I am the best person to tell you whether the accusations made in this video are true or false. For context, a very popular Indian influencer went on a podcast to talk about her Femina Miss India 2023 audition experience, and there are a lot of mixed opinions about it. I got to know about it when a girl in my WhatsApp channel sent this video asking me for my opinion, and boy do I have a lot of opinions. So grab some popcorn, sit in your chair and have a refreshing drink because we are going to get into it.
I physically cringe now thinking back to the years that I would actually wake up to watch the Miss India contest or the Miss Universe.
So as a host, you obviously set the tone for what the conversations that happen, and she clearly opened the floodgates to bash pageants. She goes on to say that pehle she used to wake up to watch them, but abhi usko cringe lagta hai or whatever.
Changed the models there for fitness and for mindfulness, and I had a
don't think they had any mind.
That lady goes on to say that they are rated on the basis of their fitness and their mindfulness, and she goes on to say I don't think they had any mind. I'm gonna bring in contestant Lekh for a second and tell you that my batch had some of the most accomplished women that I have met, and for the first time in a long time I was proud to be surrounded by so much talent and so much hard work. These girls were like head girls, they were performing for the Prime Minister and they were NCC cadets and they'd done so much social work, national level debaters. You can only know these things when you are curious, not when you go with the ye to mujhse niche hi hai wala mindset.
The idea was to, when an influencer posts, automatically another person's like, oh, Rida's auditioning for this, I can do it. So business to ऐसे ही बढ़ रहा है ना, मैंने तो नहीं डाला एक भी. तो जब तक crown मेरे सर पे ना आए, I will not be posting a thing, right? So I did not post anything.
I'm gonna put my pageant coach goggles on and tell you something. Two things to learn from this. Number one, she clearly says that the Miss India organization reached out to influencers and she was one of them. This is a learning for every contestant watching this. Please stop asking me questions like, am I supposed to make my Instagram public because I am very shy and like relatives kya sochenge? That era is gone. The reason that they're reaching out is because they want people with influence. So please start working on your social media holistically. You have to be able to use that like your resume. And secondly, she goes on to say that until I had a crown in my head, I didn't want to post about them, which makes sense on her part because she already was such a big public figure that she didn't want to, just give clout to random things that she's trying. You, on the other hand, cannot have that mindset. I have so many girls who come to my sessions and then say, ma'am, can you not post that picture that you took towards the end because I don't want people to know. Unless I win, I want to be like an overnight success and I don't want my friends to know that, I'm participating in something like this. Honey, you anyways are not going to make it if you think this way. You have to show a sense of vulnerability and show your trial period because that's where most of the learning happens. Your journey is to be something to be proud of and not something to be hidden and put under the radar because आपका experience भी उसमें चला जाएगा. You will learn how to post, you will learn how to tag, you'll know what kind of videos do well only when you start sharing.
Mumbai, and the thing is, I did not. In the beginning, yes, I wanted to give a shot at it and everything, but my family was very orthodox, so it was a no-no for me. But they reached out to me, I spoke to my dad and they were like, yes, please come and everything. So
Wait. So here she actually goes on to say that pehle she was interested, she wanted to be a pageant girl, but her parents were really orthodox about it, so nahi ho paya. But later the opportunity came to her. So then why are you bashing if you yourself had those dreams?
All the girls out there were constantly auditioning over and over and over and over again, thinking that if at all they win, that might somehow change their life, they might somehow enter the movie industry and everything, without really not having a second option whatsoever. And their parents are also like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I felt so bad because I can walk out of it because I already have something that's happening for me.
Whoa, hold up. Who said that the girls are auditioning over and over because they don't have a second option? The girls who are auditioning are either completing their graduation, preparing for their masters, thinking of traveling abroad and are taking a gap year to figure out their alternatives. They are preparing for competitive exams. No one is sitting thinking that this is the only thing they want to do. And by the way, parents are not forcing girls to do this over and over again. The girls choose it and the parents kind of support them because with every audition, you learn something new. You learn a different knack, you learn how to groom yourself better, you learn a better way to answer. Sometimes you reach really close and luck doesn't favor you, so you want to try that luck out again.
Way it looks. So she said, you need to get this fixed. I'm like, oh, you wish. There's nothing. They really say that? Yes.
There's an entire list
Yes.
of things that need to get fixed.
It's like there's nothing I'm doing to my face. Then what happened? Then I went ahead.
Is it optional? Sorry, is it optional?
No, if you win, then you have to do it.
Okay, let me clarify this one more time. She was asked to probably get a smile makeover done because she doesn't have an aligned set of teeth. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है that if you win, you have to do it. To win, you have to do it. Meaning, to get inside the context, you already need to have symmetrical teeth because it is a prerequisite not just from the organization but the brands that sponsor these organizations. Like in my time, I had Mohe, I had Sephora. It is a model prerequisite because they use you as models in the shoot and then they blast you up on pictures, on hoardings, on newspapers, in the front pages, on their websites. And unki requirement hai ki the models need to have a perfect set of teeth. Dekho, times are changing. Abhi jaake we are seeing Colgate ads with Dolly Singh with her original misaligned teeth, and that is great. Okay, nobody is perfect, and more inclusive the industry gets, pageants will follow suit. It's all interconnected.
Once you want to participate, you sign the contract, you're under them.
Yes, they decide how you look.
How you look, what you say, what you speak, what content is going on your Instagram. People who are there, when they get all this, they're like, oh my god, I'm getting to sign this, I'll get the agency, I'll get the work. They take 40% of your cut, they barely give you work, they do. I feel so bad.
Once again, they that she's talking about refers to two different things. The first they is the Miss India organization. When you are participating in the contest and you're running to be the winner, running to be Miss World India, they, of course, they monitor your social media. They make sure that you're not saying anything that might hamper the image of not just the organization but also the responsibility because you're representing an entire state. I remember during my batch, there was Miss Rajasthan who had posted like a funny reel that said, oh, my perfume lasts longer than my ex or something in those lines. And we had a meeting where this was told to be taken down, and it was like a warning to everyone to not put stuff like this up at least until the contest is over. Because there is like a huge like weight that you're carrying when you have a state beside you. You are representing it like wherever you go. That's the legacy that you'll carry behind, and you don't want to be remembered by saying extremely extreme things. The second day here refers to Times Talent, where she's saying, they take 40% of your cut, which is nothing but a commission that an agency will take for any of the work they do. And this I agree with. Like, honestly, I don't think it's a great agency because I worked with them. They have too many girls and not enough work. So, yeah.
I felt bad because every time you ask anybody, what do you think? I want to protect the nature. Baby, you're wearing Zara. How do you want to protect the nature? I want to bring peace and harmony. How? You literally fought with the girl there because she touched your heels. How are you going to bring peace and harmony? Questions are literally what do you want? It's about them, okay? But they talk about the world. Is it?
Let me get pageant coach back on and explain what this means for you as a contestant, okay? They provide media coverage, they provide experiences, they provide a launchpad for you to then dream bigger and do the things you want. They provide access to important people. So what are you giving them in return? The ability to amplify the causes that the organization holds close to their heart. So if the question is, why are you here? Your answer cannot be because it was my childhood dream, because I want to protect the nature, because, Priyanka Chopra is my inspiration, because XYZ. No. Your answer should be, what can you do for the organization? You need to have a reason that goes beyond yourself. Even if you go to any company when you have an interview and they ask you, why do you want this job? You will have to say, because I see myself growing with the company, or I see myself helping the company hit these targets. You can't say, oh, because I need the money. Having said that, you cannot make your answers all about your beauty with a purpose project. In that way, she is right in a way. If you are someone who actually believes in protecting nature, you should make sure to put up a point like, and which is why I am wearing sustainable clothing brand, which is XYZ, whatever the name is, and you say that, which is why I'm not wearing any fast fashion products. You cannot do inky pinky ponky with your projects. It needs to mean a lot to you. You need to have a personal connection to it, and you should have worked for it. Only then your answers will feel more relatable and more touching to whoever is listening to it.
If they ask you to make content for Miss India or something like that, you have to do it for free. If they ask them to come host an event for everything, do it for free. 40% of everything goes to them. Okay? And if they tell you that come do this, everything is for them.
This is true, and I do remember that experienced models who were a part of my batch were upset that, they had blocked their dates, which is like 2 months or so for Miss India, because Miss India demands a lot from you, and they didn't get paid for the hours of shoot that they do. If that is your livelihood, if you've, gained experience by by being in front of the camera and you know that you've been paid before for that sort of work, and then not being paid for this duration does feel like a stretch. But for beginners like me, my first shoot that I did probably was for a proper brand was at Miss India. For an absolute beginner like me, it was a bliss. I didn't have a problem with them not paying me, because for me, I was learning. It was my school.
There was a sexual harassment page, okay, which was a long ass page, I think 2 pages or something, which said, if at all you're sexually abused or something, you cannot go ahead and complain anybody outside of the agency.
Fuck off.
Yes, okay, yes. But the second point itself is, but it's not going to happen. Okay, then why do you have a long ass page with clause? You're telling me that there are people being sexually abused, you can't go file a complaint. You're like, you can come and tell it to our authority, and we will. You're telling me 4 men sit there and decide if a woman is being sexually assaulted or not?
It might be women who are male allies and are not female allies.
I know that this part of the video got a lot of pageant contestants questioning the very authenticity of the pageant industry, and I will tell you what I know. Okay, I know that nobody from my batch ever had to face any form of assault or harassment. When you get inside the pageant system as a state winner, you're quite literally there almost, and you're signed up and everything. There are things that you hear, but I want you to remember that you are always presented with a choice. Even when it comes to like cosmetic surgeries, you know, there will be people who will ask you to do like a facelift or do buccal fat removal or lip fillers or facelifts. But it's always your choice. No one forces these things. It all relies on how much you want it. What are your values? How far are you willing to go for the crown? Do you see a life outside of it? Which I would suggest you please do. Please look at how these decisions will impact you in the future. When you look back into this experience, when you think of yourself, you feel like you held your values down, or you will feel like you compromised them in the split second of that greed for the crown. These are things that I want you to know about yourself before you step into the industry.
It's like they're looking at Aishwarya, they're looking at Priyanka, they're looking at Sushmita, they're looking at Diya, they're looking at all of these girls, Lara, who've gone on to do these things with their lives. But honestly, that conversation is now 20 years old. And today the world has moved on in a very different way.
Yeah. You know, I absolutely agree with this. The world has moved on in a very large way. In fact, I have made a video called The Journey to the Crown. Something in those lines, I'll link it somewhere here. You will see a lot of comments of people saying, oh, but then Priyanka Chopra didn't have to model before she did this. Or like, oh, Sushmita Sen was also from this family and didn't have to do this. But bhai, you are looking at examples that's like 2-3 decades ago at this point. What you need to remember, that times have changed and they've changed drastically. So you need to live in the current times, or else you will be heartbroken by the end of it if your expectations are super different from what's actually happening. So please listen to people who have been there and take their advice. Go watch that video. Okay, we have come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, which I hope you do, by the end of this video, please put them down in the comment section and I will respond to as many of them. I just have a few personal opinions. Number one, the person who is speaking comes from a privilege into the pageant space. I have nothing against the woman. I think she's inspired me a lot. But in this space, as compared to the other girls like me who probably auditioned and then made videos from scratch and worked their ass off for their walk and everything, she was invited, right? With that came the privilege for them to ignore her walk, like she says in a video that
I walked horrible. And I knew they'd select me because they wanted like the influencer face.
She says that her walk was horrible, but she knew that she'd still be chosen because they wanted an influencer face. So because of a career that she had made at outside, which of course, you know, she's put in a lot of hard work to, she feels like it's okay to dismiss this industry or everything that it does. But for me, for someone who had to do everything from scratch and only make it in a way that my dreams turned into a reality, it just taught me to dream bigger. For a girl who is, you know, only surrounded by what her parents allowed for her, this was a huge step for me to then go ahead and pursue a lot of other things, and I will forever be grateful for the experience. It was one of a kind. It made me who I am today. There will always be a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Not everything will be rainbows and butterflies in this industry, and you should know that. You should know not everything is as smooth sailing as audition kiya, hard work kiya, to tumhe crown mil jayega. I owe a lot to the experience that being a national level state winner gave me. It gave my parents a lot of pride. I continued to carry that title with me, despite me arraying onto various different fields. It gave me an opportunity to talk and meet and learn about stories of so many women across the globe. It is always what you take out of the experience. So don't let this opinion completely taint your belief in wanting to win a pageant. But at the same time, do take the comments of this to understand that this industry is not smooth sailing. You need to have your values, you need to be extremely grounded, you need to have a vision that goes outside of the title, and you need to never believe that this is going to be the end, this is going to be the peak of your career. If not this, then nothing else. Please don't think that way. It's just a competition, it's just an experience. Either you win or either you learn. I will see you in the next video. Until then,